Hello students. In this video we will start with the fourth chapter in science 2, that is environment management. Now you all know that environment is nothing but which is having the involvement of physical, chemical and biological factors. And all these factors, when they affect the living organism in any possible way, is called as our environment. Environment is the condition in our surrounding. So whatever you see in your surrounding becomes your environment. Now, there are two main types of environment, that is natural environment and artificial environment. We will be studying about it in the further video. But before that, you should know that what is an ecosystem. So let's understand what is an ecosystem. So the science that deals with the study of interaction between the biotic and abiotic factors of the environment is called as ecology. Now you may think, what are biotic and abiotic factors? Biotic factors are the living factors and the abiotic factors are the non-living factors. So when the living and non-living factors interact with each other, it forms the ecology. And together it forms an ecosystem. So you can define ecosystem as the biotic and abiotic factors at a particular place, and the interaction between the biotic and abiotic factors is called as the ecosystem. In this picture here, the biotic factors will include plants, animals, microbes, and the abiotic factor will be water, air, soil, etc. Now, in an ecosystem or in the environment, there are various types of food chain and food webs which are available. We have learned about food chain and food web in the 9th standard. So, food chain is the interaction between the producers, consumers and decomposers in definite sequence. It is always in a straight chain. On the other hand, food web is the interaction among different food chains in an ecosystem. So that means when different food chains interact with each other, we call it as a food web. Food web consists of many interconnected food chains. We have seen that there is an interaction between the environment and the ecosystem. Also, that our environment has enough for our need. Once Mahatma Gandhi said that the earth is sufficient to satisfy everyone's need, but not the greed. So what he meant was that there are different types of biotic and abiotic factors on the earth. There are different types of ecosystem found with lot of variety in them. Diversity in biotic factors depends on the abiotic factors. There are various biogeochemical cycles which are going on around us. All these things balance our environment. If use of any factors indiscriminately increased, there can be imbalance which leads to pollution. Man uses the nature the most to satisfy his needs. In the course of time, he has become greedy. Now there are many human activities like deforestation, construction, industrialization, urbanization, which is leading to loss of biodiversity. And on the other hand, it causes environmental pollution. So he meant that if we use things according to our need, it will be beneficial for us only. So we must use things according to our need and we should not be greedy. So there are two types of environment which are available. One is the natural environment and other is the artificial environment. Now natural environment, it consists of two things, that is the biotic and abiotic factors, that is air, atmosphere, water, land, living organisms and all. And when all these things interact, It is called as the natural environment. Now, artificial environment is affecting the natural environment directly or indirectly. Environment consists of two basic factors. We all know that, biotic and abiotic. And if there is not proper interaction between the environment, if there is not proper interaction between the biotic and the abiotic factors, it will lead to destruction of the environment. Due to many factors, our environment is degrading. So, to conserve our environment, many developed, developing and underdeveloped countries have accepted the responsibility of environmental protection. It will be possible to answer the environmental problems only if environment protection conservation becomes an effective movement. For this, awareness among people is necessary. It depends on us only to prevent and protect our environment. For this purpose, values like positive attitude, affection towards the environment, knowledge about it, these should be included since childhood. And that is the reason from 5th standard only there are various chapters on environment and how you should conserve your environment. Many human establishments dominate over the nature. In an attempt to live satisfactory life, we harm the environment to fulfill our greeds. Humans are snatching from the nature. Environmental conservation is our social responsibility. And for this, various type of laws are enacted and various conservation acts are also enacted. These laws are to be implemented strictly and the culprit should be severely punished. One such activity by the communities, that was the Chipko movement of Bishnoi. On our level, even we should try to protect our environment. And from Chipko movement, we can learn something to protect our environment. So this Chipko movement took place in India and it was taken place in Rajasthan. And the community which helped in Chipko movement was the Bishnoi community. And that is why it is called as the Chipko movement of Bishnoi community. So the Chipko movement was started around 260 years back in Rajasthan by the Bishnoi community. In this, a large group of villagers led by a lady called Amrita Devi laid down their life in an effort to protect the trees which were being cut by the Maharaja of Jodhpur. After this incident, Maharaja gave a strong order to protect the cutting of trees in all the Bishnoi. The success achieved by this protest led to similar protests in other parts of the country. So from this example, we can learn that we can even protect our environment on our level. We should also follow all the laws and regulations. We should follow all the acts which are given by the government. One such is the Environment Conservation Act, which was given in 1986, which the purpose of the act was to control the pollution and to punish the person or institute harming the environment. Now, because of various activities, our environment is getting harmed, and the main reason for degrading of the environment is pollution. So let's understand what is pollution and how we can reduce the pollution to conserve our environment. Pollution is the main reason for the degradation of the environment. There are various types of pollution and you have learned about the different types of pollution also. First one is the air pollution. Now various components like carbon dioxide, hydrocarbons, sulfur, dust particle, ashes, All these things leads to air pollution when it is released in the air. And the sources of the air pollution are from vehicles, chemical industries, use of pesticides in agriculture, CFC, that is chlorofluorocarbon, which is released from refrigerator and all. And the air pollution affects the humans also. It affects our environment, but moreover, it affects us. Various problems like irritation in the eye due to sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, inflammation in our respiratory tract. Then there are various respiratory disorders which are increasing because of air pollution. Also, tuberculosis, acid rain, and blood cancers are very common these days. Now, common measures in which you can prevent the air pollution is to use well machineries in which there will be less amount of pollution which is given out in the environment. We can even prevent incomplete oxidation. We can also minimize the use of pesticides in agricultural practices. We can even construct tall chimneys so that the pollution do not indirectly affect us. We should also encourage and create awareness about tree plantation. Another type of air pollution is water pollution. Now, water pollution leads to many factors. But how water pollution occurs? So, the most common components in water pollution is from our homes only. That is soap, then wax, hot water, color, and the various things that we throw away from our flushes. All this have high amount of chemicals, and when these chemicals go and mix into the ocean, these leads to water pollution. Now the sources of water pollution are many. Like from the industries also many chemicals are directly thrown into the ocean. Then the domestic waste, sewage, chemical discharge from the industry, pesticides used in the agriculture. All these are the sources of water pollution. Now, water pollution affect human body, and because of water pollution, there are various problems which are increasing in humans. Problems like inflammation in the abdomen, loss of brain power, death of various aquatic animals, and most of all, waterborne diseases in humans. Now, how we can prevent water pollution? So, do not waste water. This is the first thing that we can do. Do not release hot water in water bodies. From the factories, hot water is given out into the water bodies. So that should be prevented because it goes into the ocean and changes the temperature of the water, and because of which aquatic animals die. Industrial effluent should not be just thrown into the ocean. It should be treated first. And also not to use pesticides or insecticides in agriculture. We should use organic forms of things. Another type of pollution is the soil pollution. Now soil pollution, various components of soil pollution includes leftover food, paper, scrap, bottles, plastics, then work waste, biomedical waste, various chemicals, construction waste, and so on. The main sources of soil pollution are from mines, then thermal power station, domestic waste from the hospitals, e-waste, plastics from our homes also. Now it leads to soil erosion, retarded growth of plant and crop, and also it reduces the nutritional capacity of the soil, and that is why the plants become nutritionally deficient. So how we can prevent soil pollution? We should restrict the use of plastic. Wet garbage should be given proper treatment. to make manure from it. Instead of directly dumping it in the ground, we should treat the garbage. Also, we should not litter the public place. We should create awareness about plantation and cultivation of trees. And also, we should create awareness about recycling. The things which can be recycled, those things can be kept separately. In this way, we can reduce some amount of pollution that we create. There are even other forms of pollution like noise pollution and all, but these three are the main types of pollution, that is air pollution, water and soil pollution. Now our existence is because of our environment. That is, we are indirectly or directly dependent on our ecosystem. We derive so many benefits from our ecosystem. We get these materials that we use from our nature. But one thing, have you all noticed? That if our ancestors would have used all those things that we utilize today, then we will have not got these things. So that means that we should even protect something for our future generation. Today, man has proved his superiority as compared to other animals. We are not thinking for a future generation now. Instead, we are using everything. But future generation may not be beneficial from the nature. They will suffer from pollution, drought, unseasonal rains, greenhouse effects and so on, because we are harming the environment and our future generation will have to pay for it. So it is our responsibility to preserve, conserve and protect our environment. And as it is getting degraded, it is the need to conserve the environment. Now, environment conservation is our responsibility. That is, we play a very important role in environment conservation. We also play an important role in environment management. So, we can conserve the environment by conserving the available resources. We can control the harmful activities which take place. We can prevent the harm. We can stop the activities and we can also change the mindset of the people. And we can start it from our home itself. We can teach our elders that things that they do are wrong. We can even produce innovation. We can attempt innovation so that the harmful activities can be innovated and it can be done in a proper way. We can even prevent the loss of various things that is happening. So, it is very important for us to create awareness among the people. We can educate people, we can guide them, we can even participate in protecting our environment. And so, it is our social responsibility. And we can, in these way, we can fulfill our social responsibility.